Looks like we're live. Looks like we're live. Late but live. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It is a busy Wednesday morning. I've had to had some questions come across, and I was like, I'm gonna take a second because I've never seen that one before, and I think that's the interesting thing about design. The interesting thing, and I get this question a lot. And it is, Chris, will design be around 20 years, 30 years from now? Will there be jobs? And my experience has shown me that you can be in this field for decades and still be finding new questions from people, questions that you just haven't been faced with before. And that tells me that there's a lot more out there. There's a lot more out there than I am, frankly, probably aware of, to be completely honest with you. Like, I haven't even scratched the surface of what all's out there. And that tells me there's a lot of different places where you can go with a career in design. So this morning, got some questions coming across from Rebecca. She's working with a client, and the client wants this widget, this whatever, and this is where you got to be a pro, and you got to find a way to work within the boundaries of what the client's wanting to do, and that's really hard. It's really easy. It's really easy when hey, I use this and I do this and I do this other thing. When you're freelancing, you have to wear many hats and go in a lot of different directions, and that's basically what Rebecca's doing right now. Also got James. James is in here with his competitive analysis. Super excited to see what James has unearthed in along the way. So often, anytime where you are forced, or not, well, shouldn't say forced, but any time when you have the opportunity to distill data down as you're going through and doing research, I would think about that as a situation where you're likely going to be presenting that information later, and I'll talk a bit more about that when we get there. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's get in here and get underway. So Rebecca's got her CrossFit Nation thing going, and one of the questions I'm going to tackle the easier question here. One of the questions she had was related to these images, and I think she's having a bit of an issue getting those to work for her. So I'm going to go ahead and let's jump in here into WordPress, and that's actually not what I was looking for. That is the plugin that she has, that she's been saddled with, for lack of a better term. I have not, honestly, Rebecca, I have not used this plugin before, but we're going to jump in and see what we can do with it. I don't necessarily see short codes here, so I've got a little question about that. But there's always more available to you than what has just been distilled down here. So, but let's move over here. Let's get your I don't need Typeform. I need CrossFit, and let's get into the back end of that. Should just pop me right through. WordPress is painfully slow. That's the big rub against it. Just like wait and wait and wait. Of course, I gripe about this, and like 10 years ago, this sort of wait would have been very common. All right, so it looks like you've got the timetable plugin. But first, I want to go and try to adjust that image issue you were having. So let's visit the site, and let's go ahead and get into Elementor with this. And I thought we had adjusted this the other day, and we may have, and it's one of those did you hit the update button issues. Um, Elementor sometimes has. Yeah, okay. So let's go on down here. So here you are, and you've got your images, and it's weird because that looks like it's a different, it's showing me a different image than what you, oh no, it's there. So essentially, what I was doing the other day on these, is I was going into, here you have this as it says 400 by 400 apply. So we'll go ahead and hit update. That should make it a square. Now I'm curious what this, if this is 400 by 400, it is. We're going to hit apply and update. And then let's go over here. 400 by 400 apply and update. And let's see what comes out on the other side over here. When we refresh, I mean, these should be all square, and they are not. So that is interesting. Let's go ahead. Let's go back over here and check that out again. Let's see here. I just want to try to shake it up here. If I say update, I've now made it 300 by 300. I'm also checking to see if there's like a caching issue happening here. It's being a little belligerent there, isn't it? So let's, I want to go into a new tab. Actually, I'm going to go into a private window. I'm just trying to get everything to load as if I've never been to this website before, because I'm worried like maybe I'm seeing a caching issue. And no, it's loading. It's definitely loading like that. I want to just inspect element here, see what we can do. And of course, Firefox is being fussy, so I'm going to get out of that. Yeah, let's try that. I'm just curious here. Why did the thumbnail suddenly work? Is my question. And that did work. Okay. All right. So we've gotten it to react. So now let's see. Let's change it to 420. 423, 425, 425. It's as if it wants to do something, but it's not quite talking itself into it. That apply is constantly green. I can get the update to go away. And then it snaps right back down. That's really weird. I can see where you would be having an issue there. So I'm gonna pull in a new image. I just want to make sure that other image is right there. So I'm gonna insert this new media. Let's say insert media. It's interesting that it, it's blurry like that. It's almost like it's seeing it like a thumbnail. Okay, so let's update it. See what we get. Okay, the taller image is definitely there, but it's weird. It's as if it's not paying attention to any of the parameters that Elementor is wanting to put around it. So let's just let's update that. Just wanting to see if that percentage is going to take. Yeah, it's hard to tell. What's the constant back and forth here? 200, 400. Let's go the other way with it. 400, 200. Update. I don't like this. And frankly, part of me wants to just rebuild the package, because it's not the changes aren't holding. Yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see anything changing. So in these instances, as much as I hate to do this, you know, I'm gonna delete the image, and then I'm gonna pull an image back in. I'm gonna delete all these images, and I know that sounds just insane, but when you have elements that aren't updating in the back end, a lot of times what I've found is that you have to like just clear them out so that the database will kind of rewrite itself. Now what I want to do is I want to come back into Elementor. I want to go ahead and choose that image. Let's go with the wider one. We're going to insert media. Now we're going to say custom. We're going to give it a width of maybe I just need to give it a height. 400. Apply. So now that height is there, I'm curious what it's going to do for us. I don't really know. And it appears that it just gives it to us at that size. 400 apply. Now it's showing at the size. It's cropped it a bit. I want to see if it crops it now. No. Elementor is previewing it differently than what, I mean, this preview is what I'm looking for. So it's misleading. I don't typically like having to go through and find a particular image. Wide, small, caption, description, copy link. Let's edit the image here. Image crop. Okay. Didn't do anything. Okay, let's just use crop here then. And that didn't take. Really poorly done. So let's say 330 by 330. Weird. It's weird because I can't. Oh, well, that's just terrible user interface right there. I have to hit crop again to get it to a point where I can hit save. And now I can hit update. Oh, it's just terrible. And the dimensions are still slightly off, which is just, not a fan. Not a fan. So I'm going to say 330 by 330. And then I'll hit crop again. And then I'll hit save again. And then I'll hit update again. Oh, just disgusting. Disgusting. All right, now I'll come back to Elementor. Now let's insert this image, this cropped image. Insert media. God, really? It's like I just cropped that image. Edit image. Yeah, update. Alright, so it's 3:30. It's like I'm in some sort of weird time warp. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of Elementor because I just don't think it's working for us. Leave page. Alright, so now let's go back to the site. Edit with Elementor. God, we haven't even gotten to the real problem that you've got. This is just cropping images. And it just takes forever to load. You know, while we're waiting on this to load, let me tell you about my life story. Can't edit. Like, I've gotten that pop-up twice. There's something up with the size of this site. Something up with the size of the images. Like, I shouldn't be getting that safe mode thing. Let's choose the image. Let's come in here. Okay, so that looks like, all right. So now, if I just said, you know, medium, large, or if we said thumb, medium, like, what's it going to give us is my question. If I just said full, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. And of course now it's not big enough. So now we have to go through and do the edit image thing. And now it's, 400 scale. Why does it give me not a number? I oh God, I don't understand. Not a number. 100%. Becca, I don't know what's wrong with this. Images can only be scaled down, not up. Well, awesome. That's awesome. So what I want you to do is I want you to re-upload this image and crop it. Because it appears that you you can only go up. I mean, you can only go down, which is fine, but we cropped it. But because the proportional cropping here made it, it was a wider image than it was tall, so you need to make those edits before you upload it. I would do that to all the images because that's the only way that it's going to play nice. We could edit these other images too, but ultimately you're going to need to re-upload those in a square format if that's in fact what you wanted to do. And I think that would allow you to just take it in Photoshop, crop it, re-upload it, good to go. But let's get to the bigger issue, if you can believe it. There is a bigger issue, and it is this timetable. So you are wanting timetable, or your question in the feedback loop was you don't know how to get the plugin widget to Elementor. Okay, so basically you have to create the calendar first. There is no getting it into Elementor. You've got to build the calendar, which means you need the content for the calendar. There is no calendar to be had until you make a page for it. So the first thing, if I go in and add a new event, so I just say I want to add an event, what you'll find is there's a blocker here. And the blocker is I don't have a column created yet. So I actually have to come down here and begin to add columns so that the calendar can begin to take its shape before I can actually add events. And this is like all backward. It's not how you would anticipate. You would anticipate a calendar like you load a calendar and it's a calendar, because a calendar is 7 days a week and 24 hours a day, and there in that you layer events. This is made differently because I shouldn't say because I'm obviously guessing at why they would have made it differently, but this is made so that people can come in and say, okay, I'm going to create a column because maybe I'm only open on Sundays, all right, and the name of this column will be Sunday, okay, and I will hit publish. Yes, I will publish that. And now Sunday is now live. If I wanted to view the column, I could actually go and here's Sunday. All right. The next, we'll come back to that. Let's come back over to the dashboard. So I'm going to come over to timetable. I'm just going to create columns for everything. So there's Sunday, and I'm going to add a new column. Now this one will be, of course, Monday. And day of the week, Monday. Publish it. Yep, I'm sure. So there's Monday. Let's go ahead and come back and we'll add a column. And this will be Tuesday. And I'll come back, day of the week, obviously Tuesday. Publish. So, we're going through and we're literally building a thing. But I could come back and I could add each day of the week if I wanted to. Maybe your organization doesn't need each day of the week. That's really up to you how you construct it. And again, I've never I've never seen this plugin before. I've seen booking plugins, and booking plugins give you the ability to see the whole calendar. So this one, it felt a little weird that you had to build it up, but you have to have events exist somewhere. And when you go in to add an event, you have to select the column that that event applies to. So, you can do this, and now it's weird because I can add new, but before I couldn't. So anyway, long story short, you have to have a column to add the thing to. So I'm going to say, okay, well, this thing happens on Monday, and it happens at 8:30 in the morning, and then it goes until 9:45. And I'm going to say that this is CrossFit CrossFit Boot Camp. Okay, and I'm not going to worry about that. I'll add new. So that's CrossFit Boot Camp. It's weird though, because when I come in, I don't see anything here. I'm going to go to events. I don't see anything there either. I think I added it too quickly because I didn't, let's just say CrossFit Boot Camp. This is a test event for the calendar. All right, now we're going to say this happens at 8:30, goes to 9:45. This is an 75-minute workout. That's fine. Group workout, because it's a CrossFit class. We'll call it CrossFit will be the and now I need to add a background color. I'm just going to add black. The hover will be red. The text color will be white. And I'm not going to bother with a custom URL or anything for this. You could, but I'm just going to say, now I'm going to say publish. Okay. And yes, I'm going to publish it. And now that's published. If I view the event, so there it is. This is really weird, but there's the CrossFit Boot Camp. Let's go ahead and go back. Actually, I want to go to events. So there's CrossFit Boot Camp. It's in there. It was published 31 seconds ago. And what's interesting is there tends to be a column here. So yeah, I'll say this one is 11 to noon. Add new. So now for whatever reason, it's applying itself here. I'll say Tuesday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Add new. So now these things are coming in and populating. I'm going to go ahead and hit update. In this boot camp, you're able to add. I'm now able to add multiple sessions, and I'm guessing these will show up every week on Sunday and Tuesday and whenever. Let's go. I want to preview this. I'm not sure where it shows up at. Okay, So yeah, now I got Sunday, Sunday, Tuesday, Tuesday. I'm not sure why it's making duplicates, but it is making duplicates. I'm going to refresh this page. Yeah, but now that I've refreshed it, I have the ability to edit these things. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to. There is an autosave of this post. Well, that's interesting. I wish that autosave would always show up as desired. So this is, let's go to, I just want to see if timetable/event. So timetable/event does show events. What does timetable show? Timetable does not show anything, and that's because, ta-da, we haven't actually created the calendar page yet. So we've got a couple of events on here, which means that you're going to need to sit down with your client and import these events before you can actually style anything. But we're going to go to pages. And now, yeah, I've got a timetable test page, but I'm just going to trash that one because I need to add a new. What are we adding new? You guessed it. We're adding timetable test. Now, this is where the instructions online just go all crazy because it says in the editor, and this isn't something you can do in Elementor. You have to do it first over here, and this is literally how you add the timetable. And that's all it's going to show you for right now. Now, what's interesting is I'm led to believe that in order to display I'm led to believe that I can actually change, in order to display multiple points, Control Command. I mean, I don't think those actually drag over or anything. But let's go ahead and hit publish. Yes, I want to publish. And so timetable test is now live. It's at this link. So let's view the page. And you can see Sunday, there is a Sunday boot camp. Now what's weird is that when we come back over, I've got several days in there. I'm not sure why it's only showing the one. So you can come in here, you can add classes. There is an advanced section down here, additional classes that you can add. And again, now we're getting into that whole, you've got to add your CSS over in Appearance, and then you've got to call the classes onto it here. It's a bit of a mess. Right now, I'm wanting to determine, yes. Right now, I'm wanting to determine why I'm having trouble. Oh, there it is. It's over here. Why am I having trouble seeing this? Page doesn't exist. Okay, so now it's showing up. And it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. I don't know why this is showing up by itself, but this is showing up separately. But this is the early version that you will need to go through and begin targeting how to edit this. And again, I'm going to come through and I'm going to begin looking at this in Inspector just to see. Okay, so I could, like, that div is MPTT MP timetable. So MotoPress timetable dash inner dash event dash content. That's the class that you want to target. And this is the thing that you've got to begin investigating next once you get the content from your client. I don't think you can begin styling this really until you have something to actually work on. So that's the bugaboo of client. Client is saying, I want to use this template, and yeah, of course they want to use the free one. Of course they do. The controls are weak. I don't know if there is a MotoPress Pro template for this because I haven't used this one before. But what I found was, in working on this, there was nothing to it's not going to show a calendar until you give it something to show. So you're going to have to go through and pull out all this content, and then begin to build this. But right now, you've got to get this populated. So remember, it's timetable into the events area, and once you're in the events, then it's the actual editing of the event. You could sit down with your client and say, okay, I got a job for you. You need to learn this anyway, and I'm going to show you how to populate this. And I think that's a very good job for a client to know. One thing I was curious about, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so at least it puts it in order, of like logical days per week. At least it's not like mixing it all around. But they're going to need to populate this with the classes that they have. I don't think that is something you want to get trapped into doing constantly over and over and over for a client, because what they're going to do is every time they need a change, they're going to knock on your door, and that isn't what that's not why you're using WordPress to begin with. You're using WordPress so you can hand this off to them. But the widget that they've selected is it's not great, to be completely honest with you. But it is something that's customizable. I found some tutorials online that kind of target it, and that's how I was able to sort out like why it wasn't showing up for you at all. And it's because it's not going to show anything until you have events in it. And once you have events in it, then you can begin to work in it. But everything is under here, and then it's also under here. I have not seen anything where you can take a widget and like plop it onto the home page with this particular plugin. Maybe it's out there, but typically you would do that with a shortcode. I don't know if you remember the form that we built earlier. We had a snippet down. It wasn't a snippet. It was there was. Oh yeah, it's over here in templates, I bet. Well, I thought it was. Anyway, we had a form, and you'd taken the shortcode from the form and pasted it into Elementor. That's how you typically connect these plugins to something like Elementor. But here, I haven't seen a shortcode, so I'm not exactly sure how MotoPress handles that. But I hope that gives you enough to get started. There's lots of work to do there. I would start first though by getting it populated. All right. So with that, let's jump over. James has got his competitive analysis here, and there's a few things that I think are pretty good. You've kind of got an idea of what your key takeaways are. Strong online presence and a great ordering experience through multiple platforms is key. The strongest point is that Fresh Market does not currently have a meal kit services. Meal kit, restaurant, grocery services have. Wait, this was the strongest. point that Fresh Market does not currently have. Okay, so Fresh Market doesn't have this strong online presence. Um, however, a customer wants to order, they need to be able to complete that order. All services I have attempted have the user sign up for a subscription service. Restaurant and grocery delivery services offering no delivery fee and rewards. A meal kit service offering discounts. Amazon extension of Prime offering. The lock-in of subscription is a strong indicator that customers will frequently use the product. Customers want a diverse set of meal options and a price point. So I think those are like some high-level takeaways. I want to think about this from the perspective of, I'm going to present this eventually to somebody. Maybe it's my research team. Maybe it's some executives in a boardroom. Whatever it is, they need to know what you've seen, what you've noticed, who you studied, and that's that's the gap. Right now, I've got the overview, and there's some takeaways there, but by and large, I don't know who you've studied. One thing I like to point to here is some work that Eve did in the same area. So she literally did hers as a PowerPoint. And I will say this, unprovoked. I didn't ask her to do it as a PowerPoint, but she naturally made the leap that, oh, this is like something I would present to people. I really do think having the competitor overview is key. It's absolutely key to letting the rest of your team know, okay, here's who we looked at, so that they can say, hey, either it's another company you can look at, or yeah, I noticed that too. The questions that are going to come out of this is, yeah, but did you look at Grubhub, or did you look at Fresh Market? Did you look at Hello Fresh? Like, you're going to get questions, and half the time it's going to be, yeah, I looked at that. Yes, I've looked at that. But if it was in the documentation, then nobody would ask. And you're trying to anticipate what the questions are going to be. Tap the easy ones down so you can get to the more interesting stuff. This is not about getting rid of questions. I want to get rid of this. I don't want to call them stupid. I want to get rid of the obvious ones. I want to get rid of the obvious ones so we can get to the more interesting stuff. Okay. So your SWOT analysis. I'll get in more to this. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. I am interested in what you have specifically there. I do like the fact that you have a pretty robust known unknowns. Like, what are the questions coming out of this that are now on the top of my mind? Because you're going to go into those user interviews that you're going to have now, and you need to catapult yourself into those with a set of questions that are literally things you don't know. Like, I need to ask about X and Y and Z. And I'm glad to see that you have a set of these. Eve had a similar breakdown here. Here's her SWOT analysis, but down here at the bottom. Although when you get down here, she has a similar realm of unanswered questions. But by and large, for you, I think that this is right. Your SWOT looks robust enough. I need more. I think the competitor overview. It's like your key takeaways are currently in your competitor overview. I think the key takeaways need to move out, and you need to focus more on, like, here are the competitors, and here's what I saw in each. So flesh that out, and I think that you're in a much better spot. I do know that, like, the first time you do this, you're going to be, like, feeling your way. And I would also say that every time you do this for a new client or a new company that you haven't worked with before, you're going to have those moments where you're like, Is this enough? Did I go too far? I've seen competitive analysis go 12 pages deep, 20 pages deep, and I've seen it be like a one-sheeter, somewhere in between. Typically, it's not way down there. And honestly, there's probably I bet you there's documentation. I bet there are books written about your competition. I bet like Ford Motor Company, when they're looking at their competition, I bet you there are entire books written. When we write about what foreign governments are doing, hell, we that's what governments do for a living. Um, Here, I need a little more, but specific to who the competitors are. I'm gonna check here. We got a lot of people. Yeah, Tedjul is very very encouraged at your success, Rebecca. You, and that's the other thing that I would mention about this that the hurdles that Rebecca is finding in WordPress. You don't run into hurdles if you're not busy. Okay, if you're busy, you're going to run into hurdles. You're going to run into things that haven't seen before. You're going to run into aspects of you're going to run into problems that hadn't considered before. Man, I really wish we could go another direction. Really wish I could use this framework and not that one. Those things come up all the time. That is part of being in business. But the beauty of things is we have the internet and we have video conferencing like this. We have an opportunity to reach out and ask questions, and that's why I love doing this. I love diving in, digging in on things that, again, I haven't considered before. I haven't considered that widget. Haven't used it. I've used other things. I like poking around and like, where are the barriers on this thing? Just yesterday with Tedjul is like, you know what? Before we get off the call, let's look at animations for a second. This is how we stretch and grow. And so long as you're running into things that you're not sure how to answer, that means you're probably doing the right thing. So without much further ado, I'm going to let you folks get on with the rest of your day. Chris Courtney, New Pragmatic, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.